Hello, hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be solving this problem valid parenthesis. So in this problem we're given a string s which contains just the characters which are brackets, small bracket, large bracket and curly braces, opening as well as closing. We have to determine if the input string is valid or not. So what is a input string? When a input string is valid? If open brackets must be closed by the same type of brackets, open brackets must be closed in the correct order. Every closed bracket has a corresponding open bracket of the same type. Let's see how we can do that. So here what we have is, let's take this example. We have to check whether this is a valid parenthesis string or not. To do so, what we have to do is we check that this is balanced, this opening bracket is balanced by the closing bracket. This opening bracket is balanced by the closing bracket. This opening bracket is balanced by this closing bracket. So in this fashion, this string is a valid string, right? This opening bracket, this closing bracket, this opening bracket, this closing bracket, opening, closing, right? So what we have to do is we have to check whether this is true or not, whether this is valid or not. So for this corresponding string, we have to return true. How we can do that? So the standard way to solve this problem is, just think about it. What we have to do is whenever we have a bracket which is opening, we must have a closing bracket. That too just after this, right? That means, let's say we have a string like this: close opening bracket, then another opening bracket, then another opening bracket, and here we have a closing bracket, then we have a bigger closing bracket, then we have a this closing bracket. We can see that this is opening bracket, but we have a closing bracket corresponding to this opening bracket, but these are not valid. They are not valid. Why they are not valid? Because you can see that this is opening, this is closing, and that means we just cannot make them balance. Why? Because for a particular opening bracket we must have a corresponding closing bracket. So here I have opening bracket, here I have closing bracket. I must not have these type of brackets in between, right? Why? Because since I have this, I have to balance this bracket before I balance this one. That means corresponding to this opening bracket, I must have a closing small bracket, which is here. But in between them, we have a curly braces, which is not balanced. That means this string is not balanced, because we can see that to make this a valid string, we must have a closing bracket right here instead of here. Now we can see that first of all this is balanced, then when this is balanced, then this becomes balanced, and when this is balanced, then this becomes balanced. So that we have to check. To solve this problem, what we can do is we can observe that here it is a type of first come last serve type of order. The first bracket was this large bracket and it was closed at the last. The last bracket was this curly braces and it was closed first, right? For the valid string. Now we can see that the first in last out order is observed in the stack. So what we do is we take a stack, we push that into the we push the string, the character into the string, we push the first character into the string. Then, so I'm taking this string. Now before pushing the second character, which is this one, I need to check the character which is at the top of the stack, which is a closing bracket. I can see that this closing bracket, which is a opening bracket, this current closing bracket is matching with this opening bracket. That means I have to pop it out, right? I have to pop it out. So I pop it out and then I move to the next character, which is here. I push this closing bracket, I push this opening bracket into the stack. Then I move to the next bracket, and here at this point, at the fourth place, what I do is I basically pop the bracket from the stack and then I try to balance it. I try to balance this bracket with this one and it is balanced. We can see that. Then I move to the next bracket and I push it into the stack. So I push it into the stack because I push this bracket into the stack. Why? I only have to push the opening braces so that I can club them with the closing brackets. So now move to the next character, which is a opening bracket, which is a closing bracket, and I pop the top bracket from the stack, and this opening bracket and this closing bracket, they are closed, right? Now this is what we have. That means this was a balanced string. So let's say we do not have a balanced parenthesis string. What do we do in that case? So let's take an example. So here what we have is, let's take an example. So here what we have is, let's take this example. So let's say we have this string. This is not a valid string. So what we do, let's take a stack. So in the stack we push the first letter, which is opening bracket. So we just have to push the opening braces, right? Now move to the second character. It is also an opening braces, so push it into the stack. Move to the third one. It is also opening, push it into the stack. And in at the fourth place I have a closing bracket, right? I have a closing bracket. So what we have to do here, what we can do here, I have to check the top element whether this is the small opening bracket or not. It is not the small opening bracket. That means we cannot club this current character with the character at the top of the stack. So the character at the top of the stack is this, and I can't do it. I can't club the current character, which is this one, with that character. So what do we have to do? We just push it out of the stack. So we push this out of the stack, right? Then after that what we have to do is, we do not we have this, and what we do is we just return false for this point. Why? So let's write the code for it. Let's declare a stack of characters. Let's call it st. Let's iterate over the string s.length, and here at this point we have to check if the current is empty, if the current bracket is empty, if the current stack is empty. If it is empty, all we have to do is just push that character into the stack. Otherwise we have to check if the current character is opening, and the top of the stack is also, and the top of the stack st dot top contains the corresponding. So if the current character is a closing small parenthesis and the top of the stack contains this bracket, then what we have to do is we have to pop it. Otherwise, if the current character is a curly bracket parenthesis and the top of the stack is a opening bracket, then we again pop it. Else if the current character is a closing parenthesis, large closing parenthesis, and the top of the stack is, then we have to pop it st dot pop. Otherwise, the next thing is, the last case is, if it is not empty. If it is not empty, then we just push it into the stack, right? So in this fashion, if it is not empty and none of it does not satisfy any of these three cases, and at the end we're gonna return if it is empty or not st dot empty. So if it is not empty, then that means if the stack is empty, that means we have balanced all the parentheses. If it is not empty, then we haven't. So that means if it is empty, it is true. That in that case we'll return true. If it is empty, then we'll return true. If it is not empty, then we'll return false. Let's try to submit it. It's giving me wrong answer. If we have, and the top is this, giving me false. Why it's giving me false? If it is empty, we're gonna push it. If the top is this, and it's gonna be popped. So if it is empty, then we will return true. Otherwise, we'll return false. Okay. So we just have to, let's try to submit it. Okay, that got accepted. So it was an easy problem of stack, and we just have to solve it with a little bit of intuition. The first come, last serve order was there, and the time complexity for this solution is big of n because we are traversing over the string once right here, and the space complexity is also big of n, right? So that's all for this video. If you like the video, then hit the like button and make sure to subscribe to the channel. I will see you soon in my next video. Please stay with me, and I will see you. I will keep showing up. We'll see you soon in my next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.